Welcome back to 90 Seconds Plus with Invercargill City Mayor Nobby Clark. Today we've got a few topics and we'll kick off with the annual plan, which is out in a couple of weeks for the public to consult.
Yep.
So it's important you get out and have your say, or get involved and have your say. We'll keep you up to date as that stuff comes available from council.
The big issue in the annual plan, really big issue, is the rate increase.
Yep.
We've got variations from some staff wanting it to be 14.6.
Yep.
Others suggested if we make some cuts to services and who we fund, it could drop down to 9.5. Personally, myself, I think it's 3.9, and I'm going to hold on to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the public that keep getting in my ear about rates compounding and are getting too expensive need to be vocal.
Yep.
They really do. Hundreds and hundreds of them need to tell these councillors it's not acceptable to have double-digit rate increases. We just need to cut our cloth, just like every business in town that I talked to has said that they've struggled.
Yeah.
And the government have done the same.
Some more water and costs out in the media I see at the moment about consultants. Yep. My God, I mean, even the government's cut back millions of dollars in consultants, and here's our council blowing, what, $4 million, is it?
Yep.
Crazy numbers.
That's true. $3.8 million
Yep.
in the last financial year on contractors and consultants.
Yep.
Consultants are people who give us expert advice. Contractors are people that we employ where we can't do the work ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't include legal costs, so I think that figure's probably conservatively $4 million at least.
Wow.
And I think we should take 75% of that away.
Yeah.
But that's not my call. It's the chief executive's job.
Yeah.
I think we should just say to him, this is the rates you're getting, the rate increase you're getting, get on and manage the business.
Yeah.
That's what every other company in the country, including the government sector, has had to do. We should be no exception to that.
Well, that's what he's on the big bucks for.
Yeah, well.
But okay, next topic, we'll move on to the heritage buildings. A few people starting to update the buildings around town, which is good to see.
That's been a little bit of time coming,
but
some of the buildings are now starting to get a coat of paint and looking much better. Still don't have the issue resolved on the corner of Spay and D, the Briscoes building, but we're still pushing away on that.
Yes,
I think we'll need government assistance to take it off the heritage list. So it can be demolished. That's going to be the key.
But can't council be doing that now?
No, we can't do it. It's heritage listed, and once it's heritage listed, it has preferential treatment attached to it. You just can't knock them over. You've got to fix them, but the trouble is you've got to have the money to be able to fix them. That's the problem. So I think the government is working on some of these things because there are other examples in New Zealand. So that should help us in the not too distant future to resolve that corner. But other places are upgrading, which is great.
Actually, one topic we want to throw in today would be the play nonsense about having another playground, as if we need another one. I think it's just such a silly idea. I mean, one, we haven't got the money, but two, if we're going to blow $5 million, I'd rather see it finally give Queen's Park Playground some love, because we're going to have a nice new shiny museum. We've got the brand new Territorium, and now it would make sense to do up the rest of Queen's Park, which is the playground area and the old kiosk. Gee, I think the only thing they've added to in the last 40 years is some new doors. Maybe Alan updated the windows and put a heat pump in there. I mean, it really does need some love, and I think it would make it so much better if some of the kids' area, the playground, was semi-covered, so that way you can still do stuff rain, hail, snow. And the other benefit is we've got such that beautiful park, but that means you can do a myriad of things. You could do the museum, you could do the Territorium, and then you could do the playground, and then you can still take a stroll through Queen's Park. So it's a one-stop place, I think, and it's I'd rather see us utilise that rather throw more money at a random spot in town, and everyone's got that feel-good buzz.
So I know your mum's listening to this, Michael, so I'll look down the tube and tell her this is the first and only time I agree with your son.
Good one.
So I'll probably end up voting Trump somewhere along the line. But no, you're right. I think we've got an outstanding Queen's Park. That's where we need to invest, if we can afford to invest. Considering 66 D Street to me was a nonsense.
It's nonsense.
It's a rubbishy piece of portfolio. It sits behind the Emporium and sits right next to the Grand Hotel. I mean, really, we know that some of the clients in there are potentially a risk for a children's play area. So you're right. I didn't support any of that. Along the lines that you're at, that we should do some serious work if we're going to do that at Queen's Park. And then I think we should put a pump track like they've got at Otara, which is really well used, in Russell Square, not in Elizabeth Park because it's too isolated, and put one on Bluff as well. But again, as you quite rightly say, we don't have the money at the stage. I don't think we do have. And so putting that aside, we should do one project at a time.
Yeah.
Finish a museum,
Yes.
get the funding sorted. Once it's open, then move on to whatever's next on the list,
Yeah.
be it an art gallery, be it urban play. We tend to have these wish lists
Yes.
of things that we want to do that we invariably never do, or we claw them back, or we kick them so far down the track we never get round to it. So yeah, no, it's a problem area.
Yeah. And I guess the other big thing, the last month or so, but over, the road crews have been resealing our main streets or main roads, highways. It's so good now, isn't it? Because they've been long overdue. Some work to go yet, obviously, but it's D Street and Tay Street are looking really good now.
Yeah. So I get to look down the tube again to your mother to say this is an area where he's been making it extremely difficult for me because he has to go the odd way around to get to work. But we have got some progress there.
Yeah.
It's really, really important that people understand that we need to upgrade the main network through our city, which we've done from Branksome all the way down. It's been painful, I accept that. But there are alternatives. We do not have an alternative water supply.
Yeah.
So if Branksome or that main pipeline was compromised, we've got 3 days.
Yeah.
And then we're in serious trouble, a big city with no alternative water supply. So we are working on the alternative water supply, but it's a very costly exercise. So we're still drilling.
Yeah.
I think we'll have some options here. But in the short term, we're the only city in the country that doesn't have an alternative water supply.
Yeah.
So we have to do that main thing. Now, the beauty of it is, people say, we've got a very old network. Well, that's true. They keep telling me that.
Yeah.
But the average leakage out of the system, and you get leaks where things are broken or cracked, the average is 30% leaks. So 30%, it's the national average for leakage through the water system, which is not good.
No.
Wellington's 51.2%, it runs down the hill. We are 17.17.
Yeah.
So we are doing really well with an old network. It's a real credit to the staff.
Yeah, that is
They
good.
keep doing it. But the key is to keep that main arterial
Yeah.
pipeline open, because it doesn't matter if a pipeline breaks and 20 houses are without water. We can deal with that.
Yeah.
We've got enough water stored up. But if your main pipe goes, we're in serious bother.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, no, we're getting there.
Yeah.
And we'll get some of the centre plots are now tidied up. And
Oh,
they're doing some work.
Yeah.
My better half keeps nagging me probably every second day about putting flowers on there. So we'll try and do something about that as well.
I was just going to bring up, and you brought it up, that was, I guess it has been sort of, I think, Deputy Mayor's sort of pet peeve, the centre plots and the roundabout planting. So it's good to see some progress there. I'd still like to see most of the roundabouts should have stuff nothing higher than about half a metre for visibility, because it does cause, I think it's a danger for accidents.
Yeah.
So that's
Right. I travelled away up the country recently, and I took particular notice on the roundabouts, and the ones that get to about waist height are okay, because you can see big transport coming the other way.
Yeah.
But when you don't,
Yeah.
and if you're a nervous driver about entering a roundabout and you can't see what's coming the other way, you tend to pause and pause and pause, and that creates all kinds of issues. You make last minute decisions. So I agree with you. I think they shouldn't be above that height, and if they start to get there, they should be trimmed back.
Yeah.
But again, most of those big roundabouts are NZTA.
Yeah.
They're not us.
Yes.
They're on state highways.
Yeah.
So some are very good, some are not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last topic today would be now the Bluff Hill, the bike track. So, that was open last year, I think it was. Yep.
No.
What was it this year? When was that?
It was recently.
Yeah,
I was down there opening it recently.
Yep.
What people don't know is there's now 25 kilometres of tracks
Wow.
on that hill, just the hill.
Yeah.
And so it's an eye-watering amount. So if you're a young person like Robbie, who's holding the camera, and you've got adrenaline rush, you can do the top grades, 5 and 6 up near the top of the hill. They are eye-watering and very scary.
Right.
But most of the hill is stuff that can cope with families.
Yeah.
Young people, teenagers, mums and dads, and so they should get out on the hill, because on a lovely day it is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's not that steep, any bike can get around them. So really good thing. And we were down there recently with the Japanese. They had a look, impressed. We went to the Anchorage, which is an old hotel down in the middle of town. I had a lunch there, and I'll tell you, the seafood was absolutely outstanding.
Good old Bluff.
Well, the Japanese love seafood. They just loved it.
Yeah.
And the price was really good as well. The staff were exceptional. I think they're only open Wednesday through Sunday, but if you're out and about in Bluff on a sunny day, you should definitely have a meal there.
Yeah.
It's not going to break your wallet, and the food is just outstanding.
Yeah. So there was a Japanese visit, wasn't it, from
Yeah.
Sister City?
Yeah, our sister city,
Yeah.
they had five councillors came over. They're only here for 2 and a bit days. So it was a short visit,
Yep.
but we crammed in a lot for them. So they went and saw Space Ops. They went down to Bluff and had a look at the seafood. They went out to a dairy farm.
Oh, yes.
Went and had a look at the tuatara. So they were really impressed.
Well, that's good.
We crammed a lot in, but we just had to do that.
Because, I mean, obviously, Invercargill, Southland, but also New Zealand, what is it? Our tourism's still about 89% pre-COVID, so with some work to do for everybody, I guess.
Tourism's not the be-all and end-all either.
Yeah.
There are other things that we've got to be mindful of.
Well, it's also lifestyle. That's what we did. We sell
Well,
as well down here.
That's what we don't sell enough of.
Yeah.
I mean, I often say jokingly to people, don't tell people north of Hamilton that we've had a sunny day. We don't want them selling their $2 million houses, $3 million houses, coming down here and buying 3 or 4 houses, live in one, rent the rest out. I jokingly say that, but people don't know that the affordability of housing here is much cheaper than elsewhere, and it's easy to get around the city.
Yeah.
And so our lifestyles are okay. Temperature's not quite as good as other places, but you get used to that.
Yeah.
But the quality of life is outstanding
I
here.
mean, you're 10 minutes from anywhere, basically.
Yeah.
10 minutes from the beach and 10
Yeah.
minutes from... All right, that's 90 Seconds Plus with Invercargill Mayor Nobby Clark. Until next week, see you later.